Well, I can't imagine 2 vlogs that I've done, whether it's for the daily vlog series that I did in 2017 or for somewhere today. I can't imagine life changing as much as it has between the last vlog that I did and this one. We are moved into a new office space, and I know that people do that every day, right? It's not really that big of a deal, but I guess it was a really big deal for us because I loved my childhood. I quite literally would not change any part of it. And for those of you who have followed me from my Escape to the Wind touring days and MTV days, you guys know there's a lot of things that maybe other people might change, but if they had lived my life, but I honestly wouldn't. I think it has made me who I am today. But one of the things that I went into adulthood saying is that I never wanted my kids to have to move, not even once. Now, I'm like, that doesn't hurt anybody. But I felt like we were constantly moving, and every time we moved, something else precious, some little milk crate filled with my personal belongings, something from that little milk crate would disappear. And sometimes it was just something that was special sentimentally, and other times it was something that had inspired me so much. And I don't know, I mean, maybe for friends, maybe that might help them understand why it's hard for me sometimes to let go of a belt or a pair of socks or whatever it is. But so the kids have had one house, and it's a house that I have religiously paid the mortgage on from the day that I moved in. And I've always felt really proud and really accomplished about that, and it's always made me feel really good when Faith has said, well, you know, the house it's on acreage, as you guys know. This is where the Blue Forge campus is, the Blue Forge Group campus. And it's really segmented because the house is sprawling. It's more than 3,000 square feet, and it has basically 2 spaces that are kind of like complete standalone. Like, I think they call them mother-in-law apartments, you know, like it's their own entrances and this kind of thing. And then there's like the house proper, and then there's an 800 square foot, 15-foot high ceiling separate studio, and then a 9 by 12 separate studio, and a 8 by 20 separate studio. So there's like all these spaces. And even though a lot of different studios have now been able to make their long-term home here, about 6 years ago, we founded Blue Forge Films. I've been here in the house for 19 and a half years, but about a little bit more than 6 years ago, we founded Blue Forge Films, so we opened that division. But we only had a dedicated space as an office space, as a workspace for about a year, the first year, and then we realized that in order to grow, we were going to have to make some really serious changes. One of them was that I could no longer write scripts in traditional script format. It just wasn't efficient. So I worked really hard to develop the modular method script format, which is basically writing a prose storyboard. So writing out your storyboard, writing out your shooting script when you're actually writing. But the other thing we had to do is we had to downsize what space we used and what space we rented. So we started running the whole company, so Blue Forge Records, Blue Forge Gaming, Blue Forge Press, and Blue Forge Films, out of just the house proper. Lots of you work at home. I'm not trying to make it sound like that was like some great burden, but it slowly over then the next 5 years began to really wear on me, because I'm the kind of person that really likes my family. The people in my life that I consider my friends are so precious to me. And I don't really socialize. I think that's why they're precious to me, is that I know a lot of people don't understand that. If I'm not willing to like go and socialize and be like event oriented, people are like, well then how are you my friend? I'm really project oriented. I don't care if it's someone else's project, but I'm very project oriented. So like I'm much more likely to come to your house and help you paint, or help you put together a trampoline, or if you want to come and be in a film I'm doing, or help create a game, or watch a movie, or play test a trading card game or something like that. But to me, those are my friends. It's the people that see me at my most vulnerable, because it's when I'm trying something new or something challenging, or maybe I'm not feeling my best. As some of you guys know, last year, even though looking back, we've probably been dealing with it for a lot of years, but I was diagnosed with, I think I'm going to pronounce it right, pernicious anemia. But anyway, it's this kind of anemia that my body isn't creating enough red blood cells. So not only is like my iron low, which is like what I think of when I think of standard anemia, but just like over-the-counter iron pills or even iron shots isn't gonna take care of the problem, because it's a problem with how my body works overall, making red blood cells. And so there's a lot of talk about getting like weekly transfusions, and there was a lot of talk about, of course, my oxygen levels being really low, and it started to explain a lot of things, because I was having what Brianne and I would kind of refer to as episodes, where I would suddenly feel, just without very much warning, there would be like a tingling, and then I would feel completely intoxicated, and like not in a fun ha-ha way, but in a really scary way. I wouldn't be able to put together a coherent thought. I wouldn't be able to see very clearly. I certainly couldn't drive. And this would last until I was so exhausted that I couldn't move. So maybe I would push through it for a couple of hours, and then I would just be like unconscious for like 12 hours. And we realized that that was when my body was dipping even lower into these incredibly dangerous ranges. So kind of dealing with all of that, and dealing with the fact that I really felt like, even though my friends were precious to me, I wasn't having any one-on-one time with my family. Because everywhere we were surrounded by work. And people say, well, turn your phone off. And I'm like, yeah, guys, my phone's off. But also, we're two self-employed women with 2 teenage kids, and we homeschool and we pay for our curriculum, and we own our home, which through no fault of our own, which is a very long story, there are 2 mortgages on this house, and we're paying off both of them, even though neither of them are in our names. And here we are making these bills. We've got a lot of bills. Turning off my phone might be the difference between me making a deal and not making a deal. So it wasn't that kind of not being able to have time with my family, because I have learned to turn my phone off and leave it alone. It was like not having any place to sit and have coffee and have 10 minutes in the morning, or not have any place to sit down and have dinner together and literally talk about our days. And that used to be a really major part of this household, and I wanted that back really badly. The other thing is that I am a Virgo in the best possible ways and in the worst possible ways. If there is work that needs to be done, I want to do it, and I cannot relax until it is done. So when I joke about Brianne or Faith having to practically duct tape me to a chair to get me to watch like a new show with them or something, it was true, because it was like I was surrounded by work, and all I could sit there was my eyes would drift away from the screen, and I'd be like, well, what should I be doing now? And there's something that needs to be organized, and there's something that needs to be filed, and oh my gosh, these props are taking over our lives. And that's another thing. I know that a lot of you saw the videos of our prop room, and it's this like 12 by 15 room that's literally filled to the ceiling with props, bins of props, loose props. And then they bled out into the foyer, and then there were giant bins, and then down the hallway. Okay, and this is stuff that only I can take care of. So we finally decided to reclaim a 600 square foot part of the house that had been available to a renter for many years and then available to a new set of renters for about 6 months. And we decided that we were done and that space needed to be valued and appreciated and adored because it's part of our home. And if part of your home isn't valued and appreciated and adored, it starts to wear on you and you start to become very resentful because people should treat spaces with respect, and we desperately needed that space, and that's part of the space that I'm in now. So this is a part of the room. So if you imagine a 600 square foot square, and 1/4 of that square is this room, which has all white walls and a whiteboard, and then this beautiful rich blue wall behind me that we call the vlog wall. And it has a gear clock and a big picture window, and it's so beautiful. And then we have this L-shaped space, right? That's like the 3/4 of the rest of the square, where we have like a Keurig, and the props are set up in nice organized bins. And we have 4 desks with 4 computers and a table with a printer and other office supplies on it. And this is our family business, but not our family. So today it's almost 3 a.m. and I'm feeling really, really happy. And it's so good to feel like we have a family business that is in one location, and then a home, a family that we can exist in another location. It has been 4 days now that we have been able to have family dinners together and sit and talk at our dining room table where no work and no school had to take place. And we are slowly Tetrising the house, moving things and then moving other things to fully get the business down here. Today we set up the security system, and that also made me, as a Virgo, that made me feel really good. So the whole space is now protected not just by security cameras, but by a security system that contacts the authorities and also lets us know if anybody tries to get into the space, even tries to get into the space. So now I feel like this part of the property is really well protected. That makes me really happy. It's peaceful. The nights are warming up, the days are warming up a little bit. We've had less rain. Almost every night now the coyotes are singing. The property, the back of the property touches Banner Forest, so we get to have a lot of coyote activity. I really love coyotes a lot. When I was first moving in here, before there was any furniture really arranged in the house, everything was still kind of like covered with the moving cloths and stuff. I was standing in the living room, and this is before I was even pregnant with Max, and I looked out the window and this creature, I'd never seen anything like it before in my life. It was like, to me, it looked like an arcane, like a magical dog of some kind that was like a dog wolf hybrid something. And it was like so thin and sleek, and it was like it was made of mist, and it was a coyote. And I had just, city girl, growing up in Seattle, had never seen a coyote before, and I thought it was the coolest thing. So when they make a kill, they sing, and their song is so haunting, and it carries because it's so quiet here at night. I mean, it is dead quiet in the best possible ways. In the summer we get crickets, and in the wet autumn days we get frogs, and we get owls and mourning doves pretty much year round. But the coyotes always surprise me. They always pop up at the weirdest times throughout the year and surprise me and delight me. So I feel like my whole life has quite literally changed. I feel like everything is different. I see Brianne in a different light. I see the kids in a different light. Everything seems less stressful. And walking into this space, like people say, well, yeah, right, because you can go home at night. You don't have to stay at work and be stressed, but that's not it. I can walk into this space and I can say, this is what we've built together. And nobody can take this away, and we will fight for this. And we'll fight to keep this company strong. And we own this space, and we get to decide what changes happen and how we grow. And this is a space I love. And then at the end of the day, I can go home and I can say, this is the family I love. These are the children I've raised. This is the wife I adore. These are the pets that fill our every spare inch. And I never knew how important that separation is. I almost just now said that separation of church and state. Because, and I don't know which is which. Is my family sacred and my work that which makes the rules, or does my family make the rules and the creative work that we do, that's what's sacred? But either way, the separation is the best thing that I could imagine, and I feel so at peace and so happy, and I'm so glad to be able to share this moment with you guys. So I guess for me, this is what it is to be self-employed, and this is a few moments in my shoes, or socks, as the case may be. Thanks for spending some time with me again. Because you guys are my friends in a way that I have actually come to appreciate throughout 2017 and now into summer today. So thanks, you guys. Bye.